Buen Camino, their pilgrims. This is Jeremiah Gibbs, and I am your Camino guide. And today, I have a pretty unique video. I just had an opportunity this past weekend to have a reunion with some of my pilgrim friends, and then today I'm in Lisbon just for the day. I'll tell you about that in a minute. And I'm going to walk a little bit of Camino Portugues before I have to go get my flight. Well, pilgrims, I have just arrived up at the cathedral, and in fact I can already see my first yellow arrow over there, so I'm going to just make my way over there and show you that first arrow. For those of you that are hoping to walk Camino Portugues from Lisbon, this is the front of the cathedral, and right over here to the right hand side of the facade, you'll see the first yellow arrow. So it's time to make our way toward Santiago. I've never walked Camino Portugues, so I've not gone this way before, but I'm looking forward to maybe someday including this one among the Caminos that I've walked. And I suppose if I ever get to come back here and walk from Lisbon, then I'll know that actually I started it on this day in November of 2021. So I'm going to tell you a little bit more about why I'm here. So back in a few months ago, one of my pilgrim WhatsApp groups, a couple of pilgrims decided that they were going to meet up in Brussels. That one of them that had found a cheap flight, another lived there. Nora has been living here for a while. Y'all met her this summer. I actually didn't know Anna. Anna is from Croatia, from Bosnia, and she was she found a cheap flight to Brussels and was going to visit Nora while she was there. I never actually got to meet Anna while we were on Camino. So a couple of the other pilgrims started looking into flights, and they're all like, yeah, well, we can get there for cheap too. Ryanair was running a deal, and at first I just had checked flight prices kind of as a joke because I knew it would be far too expensive. And then I looked again, and if I flew from Chicago, I was able to fly for $400. So getting such a good deal on the flight meant that it was worth it for me to be able to go and to see these pilgrim friends from this summer. The flight that I was going on had an overnight stay in Lisbon, and although I would have rather just had gone home when I first saw it and not spent the whole extra day on the trip, I thought, well, I've never seen Lisbon before. Portugal's where Camino begins, but Lisbon's where Camino Portugues begins, so it'd be a cool city to get to know. So today I'm just going to walk these first 10 kilometers of Camino Portugues, and that will loop back around towards the airport, and then I will end my day by walking up to the airport and catch my flight this afternoon. So that's kind of fun. I was just going to explore the town anyway, but when I thought what better way to just walk around and explore than to follow the yellow arrows. So that's what I'm doing, and then we'll head home to Chicago and then Indianapolis tonight. One of the things that I've noticed already is that the route is very, very well marked through town. You can see a yellow arrow here on this corner. Not too surprising that they would put lots of yellow arrows close to the beginning when Camino pilgrims are still quite confused. So I arrived on Monday in Brussels, and it was about 6 o'clock or so, and Nora invited me over to her co-op, and I had dinner, just a quiet dinner with she and Ramon, her boyfriend, and a couple of the folks that lived in the co-op there. Just sat and talked for a bit. It was really a great way to start my trip. And then the next night, I had dinner with Noeline at this little food market that was just wonderful. We loved it. But unfortunately, we thought we would get together a couple more times, and that never ended up happening. Had a wonderful long talk with her. Noeline is easily one of my favorite people that I got to meet on Camino. She is a marketing and logistics specialist and who lives in Brussels her whole life, and just a delightful young woman, and got to walk with her a bit on Camino. And then on Wednesday, early in the day, I had a chance to finally meet Anna. Anna is Croatian, lives in Bosnia Herzegovina, and she and I just walked around basically the entire day. She had actually been walking with the same group of people as I was this summer, but you may remember in my video when I got to Burgos, actually the day before Burgos, I met a group of folks who had walked 40 kilometers the day before, and they had kind of jumped ahead to the next group forward because they walked such a long day. And because of that, she stayed back that day. She didn't want to walk a 40-kilometer day. They did, and so they jumped sort of from the group that she was with to the group that I was with, and then we walked parallel, so I never met her on Camino. And then that night I went again with Nora and Ramon, her boyfriend. We went out to a bar and just had a drink, and they kind of showed me around some of the Christmas markets. One of the great things about Brussels is that Brussels is sort of like the Christmas holiday location for many people in Europe, and so their Christmas decorations and everything that was in the streets were just absolutely beautiful. They had this light show that lit up their tree in the plaza there in Grand Place. My hostel was right next to Grand Place, and so I got to see a lot of the kind of festivities very up close, and that was cool. On Thursday, I had just a surreal experience. There was an American, Marca, and a Canadian who lived at the co-op where Nora and Ramon stay. And they decided to have a traditional American Thanksgiving, even though there were only one American and a Canadian who were there. And so I also brought a dish, traditional American dish, and there was lots of people there. There's probably 20 or 25 people from all over Europe, and a few of us who were from across the pond, and had this traditional Thanksgiving that I'll never forget in my whole life, because of the unique experience that we had there. So originally, sort of when I signed on to come to Brussels, I knew that Anna would be here, and Nora already lived here, and also that Noeline lived. Brussels is her hometown. Nora's here for school, and so I thought, well, I can at least see Noeline and Nora. And we thought maybe Gorka was going to jump on board and come as well, and so was hopeful that that these folks were going to make the trip. And then Gorka did get a ticket not long after me, so I knew that we'd have a number of people here. But kind of a great surprise, Theo from France was traveling this week anyway. And I said, Theo, you just must come. You must come. So he had to be in northern France the next day anyway. So he changed his bus, came up to Brussels just for like 5 hours to have lunch with us. And he walked around town some and so on. And then he got on his bus to France to visit family and whatever else his plans were. So that was a great surprise. Well, then we were on, we all were at a bar on Friday night, a bunch of us together, and Anna said, hey, where are you? I may come. Okay, great. So we sent her a link to the place where we were, to the bar where we were, and about 30 minutes later, and watched Giacomo. Giacomo had been kind of going back and forth on whether he would come or not. He wanted to see everyone, but his work wasn't letting him out right away. And so he ended up booking a flight last minute and coming and surprising us. No one knew he'd be there except for Anna. And just walked into the bar and surprised everyone. So that was really great then. So there was, I said, a total of 6 other pilgrims, and it was really a phenomenal week of just having kind of Camino reunion. You know, I think all of us were a little bit in shock, sort of, that had come together that way. You know, when you part ways on the Camino, you say, we'll do this again. We'll see each other again, you know, until we meet again. And then say, buen camino. And I think often in the back of your heart, you know that we'll probably never see each other again. But on what occasion would we ever be able to come back together? And, you know, maybe you will run into somebody here and there. But mostly, especially as Americans, where most of the pilgrims are European, so it's much harder for us to visit with them and just kind of know that that's not going to happen. And then for us all to prioritize those relationships, to want to make the walk again, it's just really a beautiful thing. So as you've already seen, Camino starts off in Lisbon there at the cathedral, and it winds its way for about 6 or 8 kilometers through the town, as you've just been seeing. And then we come out into this kind of industrial area. I don't know if industrial is the right word. There's a shipyard to my right. We're right along the coast here. And then there's houses up the hill to the left. So kind of an industrial area, but right along the ocean, so it's beautiful, of course. So no complaints there. I have seen a couple of the guidebooks already that said things like, if there's any section that's worth skipping, it's the next little part that I'm coming up to. It's kind of an industrial area. There's a park coming up too, which I guess is nice, but there's quite a lot of this that's more industrial and not as beautiful to look at. But, you know, I am just here for the adventure today. I'm grateful to be walking. It's not often that you get to just drop in on a new Camino path and walk for a day. And for me, I think this is the right way to end my Camino reunion trip. And just so thankful for the folks that took the time to come over and value those relationships in that way, value the friendships, and take time to spend together. It was really beautiful from beginning to end, and especially thankful for Nora and for Noeline and their hospitality and making sure I got around the city okay. And so really wonderful to be able to share that time with them. There are some Camino arrows here, but not many. I just thought I would show you real quick that these arrows right here, the blue and yellow arrow together, is what I've seen so far the entire route. The Fatima path is sharing the Camino path in this section. So that's what most of those have looked like all the way through. Well, pilgrims, I think that's the end of my Camino Portugues. I just walked the first 8 kilometers, and now I've got to turn off of the Camino to go up towards the airport to catch my flight. So this is, you know, it's kind of, you're not on pilgrimage just because you happen to be following the arrows, but for me, I felt like in many ways this trip to come and visit with my Camino friends was a kind of pilgrimage. You know, I talk about Camino as being a journey to a holy place, and for me, being with these people who I formed deep friendships with so quickly absolutely is a journey to a holy place. It was holy to be with my friends in Brussels this week, and for me to be able to end that by coming back here and putting a few miles on Camino Portugues. I hope that this will be a trail that I can come back to someday. And, you know, usually my Caminos are on Camino Frances because that's the one that has the support that will enable me to be able to take lots of pilgrims. But I'm hopeful that that someday I'll be able to come and to walk this beautiful trail as well. If you're considering hiking a Camino yourself, then I encourage you to subscribe to the channel and like this video. That'll help others find it as well. But subscribe to the channel, come back often. I make videos like this one where I vlog Camino. I make videos about planning and logistics for Camino, theology and spirituality of the pilgrimage, and lots of planning help. So come back often, and buen Camino.